Grimsby on Saturday. I'm sure with what happened here, last season, I guess you must be wary of a team that are really sort of fighting for their lives.
Yeah, when you're down the bottom, you have to give everything. Otherwise, people look at you and think, well, if you can't fight for this cause, we know you're going to fight. But we've just got to go there and do what we've been doing, be professional, be up for the fight, be up for that challenge. And if you do that little bit of quality I think we've got, and we showed that the other night with Jackson's goal, that could be the difference.
That win at Notts County was, it's another one where you've really had to grind it out. It's a really invaluable quality, I guess, especially at this time of the season, just to get 3 points. It doesn't particularly matter how.
No, it's before every game you only get 3 points, and obviously play well and move the ball around. But sometimes that's not available. It's not on because the other team don't allow you. They get in your face. Notts County, some people said they had nothing to play for, but it's personal pride, and you don't lose at home to anybody at any stage of the season. So the boys come through that well. Now we've got to go again Saturday, but we're in a good position, and we just got to make sure that we give it our best to stay in that position.
So obviously, the first time you've been in the top 3 this season. Do you think that the fact that you spent most of the year sort of under the radar a little bit on the fringes of things, that now the pressure in a certain extent has been off you, and now you're sort of well placed, going into the last few games, whereas other teams like Wycombe, for example, have been front runners, maybe they're feeling the heat.
Possibly. I've always said you've got to turn the year up. That's when you've got to give yourself a chance to get into that sort of top 7, top 3 bracket. We've done that, and now it's time to kick on with 10 games to go. If you're getting in playoff spots and give yourself a chance of automatic promotion, it's the time to hit your form and get in there, because if you get in there early on in the season but drop out of it at the end of it, it means nothing. It's nice to be obviously top of the league or the top 3 and say we're at top and we're doing well, but this time next month, that's when it starts to count and you're near the end, and that's where you want to be.
After the midweek results, you're 6 points from the top, but same amount from Bradford in 8th. I'm just wondering which you're more pleased about, whether it's that cushion that you've got outside the playoffs, or narrowing the gap to the top.
To be honest, not really. Look, just really pleased with the result the other night. It was a big game for us. We got pegged back here last Saturday 2-2. Boys were feeling a bit down for themselves, but sort of try to keep them positive and say it was a good point, because they're a good side, Shrewsbury. It was important we went Tuesday night and played with the same desire and effort, and to get the 3 points. So if we're 6 from top, 6 from playoffs, it's a nice position to be in, but we've just got to maintain it. We've got some tricky games coming up over the next 8-1.
Are you looking up rather than down?
Always look up, always look forward. Don't look behind and in the past, because that ain't going to help you now. You've got to look forward, and you've got to look to the future and be positive, and that's where we'll look. We'll look to attack the teams above, and hopefully we catch them, and the ones below don't catch us.
Confidence must be very high after you're on a great run in games. Are you having to keep the players' feet on the ground at all? Is there a danger of that?
There is a danger, but I think with these players, a lot of them they just want to work hard and just want to win and put everything into training. So it's a matter of just taking the training down a little bit, keep them off the training pitch so they've got enough energy to come into the games. And we ain't got many experienced players who have probably experienced winning leagues and things like that. So it's new to some of them, but it's a great buzz, and it's what you want to be involved in.
Do you look to those players now? I'm thinking, the Bentleys, Southall, Royce. Do they become more important now when it comes to the club?
You'd hope so. What I'd have to say about those 3, although they've got the experience, they're not really vocal players. Normally your experienced ones are the ones who get around people and get people at it, and they're really vocal in the dressing room and out on the pitch. Them 3 are not, if I'm honest. You've got your Barry Fullers, who's very vocal. Adam Miller's got a good bit to say for himself, and that's good, because he's good in the way he says it. But no, you hope those other 3 now, whatever they've got to say is positive, and get a little bit noisier, because it is time now to everyone stand up and enjoy the last 8 games.
Is that a problem, do you think? Is it something you would rather they spoke up?
You'd like your senior players to have that, and 9 times out of 10 that's what the old players do have, but they're players who've probably played in teams. I remember playing with Simon Royce at Southend, and that was back a long while ago, and I was probably a senior player and he was a young player. And I probably had too much to say for myself, and he didn't really say a lot, but then he's probably been to other clubs where he's been around senior players who have obviously took over the verbal side of things, but he must learn off that and help them. And I think Mark Bentley as well, he spent a lot of time in the league when he first started, and he sort of jumped from Dagenham to Southend. And I look back at his career and think, well, when he was at Southend getting their promotions, I don't think he'd have been one of the noisier ones in them changing rooms. But he must experience it. Now he's got to pass some of those messages on what he was hearing from senior players to our younger players. But to be fair, the younger ones are confident in their own way. You know, they know they've got a good fitness level, and they can, if you ain't verbally dominant on the pitch, be physically. And some of these guys can do that with their legs.
With the context of where you are in the division, you know, going into the last few games, will you do anything differently now? Will you change routine, or just, you said, perhaps dial down the training a little bit?
Yeah, just the training, where we've had a lot of Saturday, Tuesday games, the training you have to just cut down a little bit, because the boys are putting the effort in the games. And one of the players said to me, because obviously gone about Tottenham and with a bit of banter with the boys about Ledley King don't train, can we not do that? I said, if you was that good, yeah, definitely, I'd see you every Saturday, but unfortunately not as good as Ledley King. And we have to do some training just to keep them on their toes and make sure they're focused on what we want at the weekend. But the training's been shorted a little bit the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Will that go back up now? Because I think Notts County was your last midweek game. Will you
we'll look at after the weekend. The weekend, we've got the 3 weeks, like 3-week training to the following Saturday's game. So we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll look at that, and they might get an extra day off, to be fair, because they've put a lot of effort in. And then when they do come in, it'll be intense. So it's like rest and then really work hard, and then rest again, and then go again.
You mentioned Luis Cumbers at Ebbsfleet. I think he's one of the players that's out of contract in the summer. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, does the fact that he's been loaned out a couple of months before his contract ends have any sort of bearing on what the future he has here?
No, Louis fine. I've told Louis that he's got nothing to worry about next year. Just go and enjoy yourself, get some minutes, get some goals if you can, like Andy Pugh has, and then come back and be sharp just in case you need it for the last few games.
So he will be here next season, I suppose?
He'll be off of the contract, yes.